So what are things like, to me, like even like a diet soda? It's not the most nutritious thing in the world, but having a diet soda here or there will cut my appetite. It will curb my appetite, and I won't. And
well, there's a little caffeine in there, right?
And there's a little caffeine.
There's about 25 or 50 milligrams of caffeine. It's measurable, right? You know,
why would you consume a diet soda that didn't have caffeine in it?
I don't know.
I have no idea.
I don't either.
Is bodybuilding about selfies, steroids, magazines, and muscles? How do I become a successful pro bodybuilder or fitness competitor? Where do I even start if I'm new? And the biggest question of all, what are the judges looking for anyway? Even today with the internet, many people first discover bodybuilding by word of mouth. The lack of regulation has caused a boom of unqualified coaches, scattered info, biased advice, dangerous protocols, and imposing trends that are a hot mess. After 20 years in the business, I have seen it all. Week after week, I'm going to talk about taboo topics that get swept under the rug, provide you tips and strategies to gain a competitive edge and stand out on stage in any division or federation. I'm going to answer all the burning industry questions without the bias. I have competed across 6 federations, earned pro status in 3, and judged in 2. I've coached posing and choreography for men and women in all federations and divisions. I know just how much competing means to you. I'm your host, Michele Welcome, and you are listening to the Everything Else in Bodybuilding podcast. Be sure to download your free guide, 5 Things Every Bodybuilder and Fitness Competitor Needs to Know Before Your Next Show at eeinbb.com. That's www.eeinbb.com. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Everything Else in Bodybuilding podcast, our weekly gatherings with myself and Vassilios.
I'm still here.
Yes, he's still here.
Oh my God, I don't know why she's still here, but
hasn't it been fun?
Yeah, it's been entertaining.
It has. We're getting some good feedback.
For sure.
People love the male perspective, and you are entertaining.
Well, I don't know about all that. What? I'm just hanging out here. We're just having a conversation. Now I'm entertaining?
Yes. Well, we actually do have, we could use some entertainment because I don't know if this topic today is really all that exciting, but it is interesting. It has to do with fat burners, weight loss products, pre-workouts, all that stuff that, especially the ones that are out there right now, the miracle ones. We're going to talk about that today.
It sounds kind of dreary. It sounds kind of like, like depressing. Like, I don't even know. I don't know. It's just a toy. I had to push it. There's a button there. It's new. If you're in the Mac world, you get it. Anyway, moving on.
Well, give us a thumbs up if you saw the effect. I asked you to do that to make me
ridiculous.
Happy. But so all
right, so what are we talking about?
Pre-workouts, fat burners, and the new miracle drugs like Ozempic. You probably heard it all over the news. Oh my God, that's the latest rave that you can't even get it anymore because it's sold out. It's just absolutely bonkers right now. And I think that it's interesting to talk about. We're not going to get super geeky if you want the geek part about it.
Yeah, Dr. Bill Campbell, he did a whole live on it.
Oh yeah.
Join his subscription-based newsletter that he has, and he attached live videos to that as well, which I think is just amazing. And he goes through the ins and outs of the science and the engineering behind how it affects the body and the brain, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, and that might go way over your head. We're just going to talk in layman's terms about what actually what these products do. And there's pros and cons to everything. And that's kind of what we're really getting at is no matter what, pre-workouts, miracle drugs, good and bad, there's side effects to everything. And there's, pros and cons to everything. So even just like something as simple as a pre-workout. Okay. A lot of you, are excited about your pre-workouts. There's gobs and gobs and gobs and gobs and gobs of them all over all over Amazon, over the internet that you can buy. Yeah. But really what it comes to, do you have a favorite?
A favorite?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right now it's Mudvayne. Mudvayne is my top pick for pre-workout. It definitely gets me going. Thornhill's a new up-and-coming band based out of Australia. I'm digging them. North Lane's another great band. They're my favorite pre-workouts.
Put in the chat what you guys think about. What's your favorite pre-workout?
No, honestly, I've tried quite a bit of different workouts. I've tried, I think I've tried just about all of them. If I sit here and think about it now, from the C4s to everything in between to the You know, the glycogen pushers to the caffeine enhancers to the beta alanines to the L-citrulines to the arginines and everything in between. And
do they actually do anything?
I don't think they do. Do I see like maybe a 2% more pump depending on maybe I got a pump formula or whatever it is? Yeah, maybe. Is it sustainable and usable? Not. I don't think so. I think I have the best quality workouts when I'm well fed, well rested, and in the right zone. So I was joking about music, but honestly, if I have the right zone with the right music, in the right environment, with the right feeling, man, and I say right for myself, meaning satisfying my own desire of existence within that moment, you know, then I can hit it pretty hard.
Yeah, but do you actually feel, like, what about the days you just don't feel like it and you go anyways?
Yeah, sometimes I feel better. Sometimes I feel better after the workout. In that particular environment, I'll push myself to some degree. I'll see if my body's capable of handling it. Because, yeah, they're not all days am I 100% to go. So some days I will go at a lower percentage that I know my recovery is not the best or I don't feel the best. And sometimes I will feel better after that workout. You know, so I'll use the workout as, I guess, your post feel good type.
I do think
material,
it's interesting. The days that maybe that you have to push harder to really get through the workout are probably the ones that unless you're sick, unless you're not feeling well, and then you realize afterwards, oh, geez, you know what? I really wasn't feeling well. But other than that, like if you have to really dig deep to get into the workout, you do end up having a pretty quality workout, happy that you did it. But I do think that pre-workouts, to me, I think there's a psychological effect more than necessarily, like, for example, the pre-workouts that have the beta alanine in it, the stuff that makes you tingle, where you feel like you love that.
Yeah, I know.
You love the C4 with the Skittles.
No,
flavor.
I know it's not doing anything, you know.
Or
I know.
Starburst flavor.
Yeah, Starburst flavor. Skittles. Yeah.
You like the Skittles. You like the sweet stuff.
Yeah, but you know what? I have those on days I'm not working out. Like I have those like when I know that I'm not at 100%, I'm not going to get in the gym. Maybe I want to get some computer work done or book work, if you call it, right? Where you're just really focused in and around whatever you're doing in that moment, you know, book wise, you know, computer wise, design wise, engineering wise, whatever you're into. And I find that those kind of products at that point, 100 milligrams of caffeine, which I love to gauge it. I'm not a coffee drinker. You know, I love to know the milligrams of caffeine that I actually have. And in that particular environment, I find that they're more effective for me, you know, when hang on. She's playing with toys here.
Well, you guys are chatting with us, so I'm actually going to talk to you too. Turn the volume down.
They're more effective on my off days than they are on days that I find working out.
Yeah, but you know, I do think so. For example, beta alanine, it's not there. It has shown in studies some benefit, but you have to have a crap.
Yeah, wasn't it like 6 grams or something?
It was insane.
I think it was like 6 grams. I think Mike was saying it was like 6 grams, and I don't know if you've ever had 6 grams of beta alanine. If you have that gene that it you know makes you tingle when you take it. It's pretty distracting.
Yeah,
I don't think it's and for what? For that extra rep. For the 1 or 2 increase, I think the increase in power or recovery is like a couple percent. It's like nominal.
It's very nominal, but you have to consume a significant amount to get that. Yeah. And to do that, it's like, you don't, I mean, I think I actually know this because I did work for a supplement company back in the day. I was director of U.S. and international sales of a supplement company. I was in the boardrooms. I discussed all the formulations. I understand the psychology of it. And some of it really is just making you guys feel something. And that psychologically amps you up and makes you feel, well, amped up. And that alone will make you push through a workout. Yeah. So some of it really has nothing to do with like it actually creating this benefit, right? It's more just psychologically you feel like you're taking something that it's doing something for
so
you.
Beta alanine's supposed to buffer your lactate threshold, right? It's supposed to allow the burn to diminish a little bit more so you get a couple extra reps out. I mean, to me, it's just the right song. It's just putting on the right vibe, getting in the right state of mind, and knowing like, all right, this is the set. This is the working set. I'm going to shoot for 15 or whatever the number is. I'm just saying I'm going to shoot for that particular number. And I know it's going to hurt. I know it's not going to feel good, but I got this. And when I respond that way. This is a little bit of
crazy, like in a good way. Yeah, he's a little bit of crazy. Not everybody's going to be like, I'm going to throw on Mudvayne and I'm just going to get in there and I'm going to hammer through it.
Yeah.
Not everybody has that like,
Yeah, but once you do that, and you've used, like I've used a lot of the pre-workouts, I've realized that there's not a significant difference. And then you have the cause and effect. Like I'm stacking all these pre-workouts. What's happening in my digestive system? What's happened to my, internal workings in my body? It's an amusement park. So I'm stacking all these different chemical compounds in my body that are supposed to help me tremendously at the gym. And the reality that I've found is they don't really help me all that much.
The only one that actually is proven and does work is caffeine. But how much are these supplement companies going to make on just selling you a little caffeine?
Yeah, you could buy caffeine pills for
cup of coffee,
like nothing.
And too much is too much. And you and I both agree on that even just a little bit too much of the like those pre-workouts. Yeah. I've had one of those before with you, the Ghost brand, which are really
those are 300 milligrams.
Man, they got the freaking flavor down. That Ghost brand,
they definitely
delicious.
Do. They do.
It's like a little nice, drink that doesn't have any carbohydrates. It's just a little something like sometimes you don't want water.
But we like them on days off. We like them when we're being social and hanging out while we're working out.
I can only get through half.
Yeah, when we're working out, I find that they diminish my workout. Well, because it speeds up my heart rate. It speeds up my,
my head's gonna pop
the
off.
way that my recovery is set with that kind of caffeine intake for me. And this is just my body. I know caffeine affects everybody differently. I found it to be more negligible than good.
But a little bit goes a long way for me. And what are the side effects of caffeine? Well, better performance, but ultimately you can desensitize to caffeine, some people, and might have to consume a little bit more to get the same effect. So I guess there's pros and cons in that way. But from like health benefits, Dr. Mike T. Nelson, he talked about how, and the studies have actually shown with caffeine that a moderate level of caffeine is actually shown significant health benefits. Things like Parkinson's, things like dementia, like but not a little caffeine, but like middle of the road, like a few cups of coffee.
Do you know how many milligrams that is?
Can't remember exactly, but go follow Mike T. Nelson. He'll
and I'd be interested in understanding how those studies indicated a better lifespan or a longer lifespan or a diminish of the diseases or ailments. That if that's time, are they just getting the people moving? Is it energy that's now getting these people up,
that's
moving,
interesting,
functioning their brains?
More motivation.
I don't know. I don't know the science. This is new news for me, but there's potential there. I mean, I think just getting in the gym for me personally, that's the majority of everything that I need to keep going.
So to me, whatever it's going to take to get you inspired and motivated in the gym, if it is a pre-workout because you feel the beta alanine and it's like, oh, it's your trigger, it's time to go, then that's cool. If you're just like a little caffeine like me, a little cup of coffee because too much is too much, like Vassilios said, it's like my head's going to pop off.
Definitely.
It's too much. Yeah. Then to me, that's perfect. That's all I need. So really, whatever it's going to take to get you competitive in the gym. But things like, other supplements, pre-workouts, but may not even be a pre-workout, but other supplements cause an effect like creatine. We're going to have a guest on and we're going to talk all about in length on creatine, because to me, that's one of the products that universally for many years has been studied over and over and over again. To me, that's a phenomenal product. But it's funny, I didn't really start consuming creatine until my 40s. So if you look at all of my competitive years, maybe like the first year, but after that, all the rest of my competitive years, I didn't consume any of these supplements, nothing. And it was all just vitamins and really as clean as possible. Being a natural bodybuilder, it was just everything
nutrition
was clean.
Is everything. So creatine helps with, and I'll simplify this from what I understand, but it helps with your fluid retention in and around the cells, which ultimately indicates more energy for us to use in the ATP pathways. You know what I mean? So in that essence, I find back to the similarity of just stacking more good nutrition, making sure I'm fueled calorically, making sure I'm properly rested, and then adding things like creatine, adding, a good multivitamin that is maybe pharmaceutical grade, that is a good quality, track record of use that's not messing up your digestive system, and staying in and around a lower threshold. I personally, I know the studies out there indicate 5 grams, 6 grams are okay for digestion issues, but my own experience is it's like 2-3 grams. And I notice a little bit of a benefit, just fullness, harder muscles, a little bit more energy in and around the gym. And I'm not bloating. Anything over like 2 or 3 grams and I start to bloat. It's just not worth it. So we're talking about pre-workouts, cause and effect. So creatine's an amazing supplement.
And it's not necessarily a pre-workout because you can take creatine any time of the day. It's not the magic is not taking it before you work out. The magic is taking it consistently 100%. At the same time every day.
And I do. I take mine in a pill form. It's a Creapure. So it's a German-made, the purest form, it's made in Germany, form of creatine that our body has been, and our body absorbs that. It's also been studied the most of. And I take it just like a vitamin. I take it in the morning. I take a gram or two in the morning, maybe a gram or two at night. And I use it like that. I don't use it to stack like 20 minutes before my workout or an hour after. And
no,
I just find a little bit more energy in the gym. I find my muscles to be a little bit harder. Mm-hmm. I find my nutrition to be a little bit more on par with that, when my calories meet a good creatine input, so that I can see that my scale weight's consistent and the harder muscles, better output. So, test it out, see what works.
To me, the best pre-workout is the easiest pre-workout. So I mentioned a little bit of caffeine, but to me, it was a total game changer when I started to consume salt. The salt water. What is it? What is this? What's in the salt? It's salt, magnesium, potassium.
Yeah, we've been bouncing back and forth between LMNT and Relight. So Redmond salt, I'm sure many people know about Redmond salt, just regular sea salt. They came out with a new product called Relight. And that particular product is very similar to LMNT, which is sodium chloride, potassium, magnesium in different forms of that. So you can look that up. But absolutely, it's been studied, the sodium pump, the potassium pump, it's better blood volume, better cell signaling, right?
It's game changer. Game changer for me was just consuming that, and was like all of a sudden endurance, power, all that was increased. And this is just food, you guys. This is just
salt.
Stuff. Not even anything in a pre-workout
Sodium,
supplement.
potassium,
I mean, you can buy it
essential minerals
on Amazon. You can get the stuff that we're talking about on Amazon.
And it's affordable. We don't sell this stuff, guys. No. So it's affordable. Just go to Amazon, pick it out, try it, add another gram or two of sodium or potassium in and around your
the workout. And we sip on it during the workout. To me,
your regular regimen.
It makes a big difference.
Absolutely.
And if you sweat a lot, especially,
or hot environments, for sure.
Adding in even a second dose during the day.
We do sauna. I do sauna work, so I'm sweating frequently. So, to reestablish a good mineral level within my body, based on what we're noticing. I gauge my intake on sodium in case anyone's wondering, because there really isn't a lot of documented studies, depending on which thought and camp you kind of follow. Some people still believe sodium may cause high blood pressure. I don't think so. That's my own personal opinion, my own, I guess, unevidence-based studies for myself. I find that the more sodium that I have, the more magnesium, the more potassium, the more electrolytes in general that I have, the faster I can recover, the more I can put up. I have a little bit more volume in my muscles as well. So
the problem is everybody is so unique and so individual. You can't say in the same discussion somebody who's active and somebody who's not, and say that having enough certain salt is going to be accurate blanket statement for everybody. You just can't do that. If your output is significant, you're going to need significant refueling. There's just, again, everything has cause and effect. And fat burners, there was a time when the fat burners, do you guys remember it was there was some product called Jacked. It was this product that was like a miracle one. It had, what was the name of it? A geranium in it. Ooh. And the geranium, it's a plant, and it was a fat burner, and it was something that really supposedly helped you burn fat, just like ephedra. You guys remember ephedra before that was banned.
They had the yellow jackets they used to sell at the gas stations. They were called yellow jackets. They had ephedra in them. I'm sure everybody knew. Well, I'm from Vegas, so they were in every gas station in Vegas for quite a long time. It was like, cocaine over the counter.
And they banned these supplements. And I'll tell you, they're actually Jacked went under. And again, I know this from working at that time, I was working in the supplement industry. Jacked went under because there was somebody who had consumed a ridiculous amount of the product and died and got sued.
Wow.
So it's not that the products don't work, and in moderation, I used them. I found that they did help. They kind of, to me, ephedra in particular, I don't know if it really helped me lose extra weight, but it did certainly when you got really depleted. It helped you to maintain your endurance when you were really tired, you were really depleted, your calories were really low.
Are you talking about speed?
But what I didn't like about it, yes, it is, because what I didn't like about it was I could remember at some points, it was almost like I could feel like a heat go up my back, like I could feel like just this feeling of this aggression. Like I didn't like that feeling. I also didn't like when you went off the product, the crash from it. So those things to me were
so unsustainable. And
absolutely.
You said it was effective, but
debatably, I don't really know, because that was in my early days. There were many times I actually competed where I didn't have any pre-workouts and it was just coffee, and I was leaner. I was in better condition. So do they actually work? I think everything cause and effect has to do with your pain tolerance.
Sure.
Your own ability, like for you use the psychology of the music to get through a workout.
Definitely.
So there is that, which I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
Well, I know I'm not using speed, and I haven't used it, and I don't plan on using it. I don't feel like going to do a couple bumps before I go to the gym. That's not my thing. You know what I mean? If it's your thing, then hey, you know, that's on you. But no, I find, honestly, the best results at the gym for me are natural. They're food-based, they're nutrition-based, electrolyte-based, recovery-based is huge, and protein is huge. Just having a good base fundamentally, nutritionally, all the way around. When I start stacking any pre-workout, anything that had large amounts of caffeine over 100 milligrams or 200 milligrams, I find them to be a little bit more detrimental to the sustainability of my output. I'd imagine speed is very similar to that. You know, I did do a couple of yellow jackets 20 years ago just for fun, you know, behind the counter in Vegas when those were legal. And I did them like one night and was like, screw this. This is horrible. I felt it was horrible. The come down was horrible. I was drinking at the time, so the hangover was horrible. It was just a disaster. So I can't even, to try to work out with that, like I can't even imagine that. That's
those
just
products
insane.
didn't affect me like that, but I think it also had to do with, at the time I was on low calories, I was pretty close to show. I was pretty
so
depleted.
you didn't have anything else to keep you going.
It was really helping to get through it, through what the workouts, get through the low calories in the days.
Yeah.
But to me, what was not, again, everything has cause and effect. To me, what was not worth it was after the show, when you come off that stuff. I don't know about you guys. I don't know, put it in the chat if any of you had these experiences back in the day with ephedra and the stuff. But I'll tell you, that crash afterwards, it was like a depression of sort. It was like it was almost like a backpack on my back, because you went from having all this fake energy, I'm going to call it, to all of a sudden you don't have it. So that withdrawal of it just leaves you, and it shows you just how low energy you really are. And that was shocking to me. Yeah. Not worth it.
I find the same thing with vitamins and nutrition. You know, we experiment a little bit with whey protein, different types of protein, timing of the protein, et cetera, et cetera. And there's a meal replacement shake that you've been having for
10 years
since I've met her.
It's my fave.
And I yank it because it's got some ingredients that are debatable. I think it's still fine. There's nothing wrong with it.
It's a great
but I pull it, you know, and I don't want all that in me. I say, I want to clean out my digestive system for a second, you know, and then I go 2-3 weeks without it. I go 2-3 weeks without the multivitamin from the same company. And I find that my energy is definitely more depleted. Now, my nutrition's the same. My calories are the same. I'm sleeping the same, and my workouts are the same. So the only thing I've pulled are these couple of shakes and some vitamins, which are just meal replacement shakes.
We're not going to say the name of it.
Yeah, no, we're not trying to sell anything. I'm just saying something so simple.
Right.
A meal that has vitamins in it with a multivitamin. When I yank that, 2-3 weeks later, my energy definitely has dropped. So, you know, finding that, I guess, foundational piece, where is your baseline foundation to function what we call high function? Like you're a highly functioning body. Your body's reactive in a very positive way. You're trying to lose weight, you lose weight fast. You're trying to put weight on, you put it on fast. You change your eating habits, you want to sleep different. Your body responds faster because it's so in tune. It's not dealing with any other ailments. You don't have any other sicknesses or, you know, broken bones that your body's got.
Yeah, that doesn't count.
You know what I mean? So when you're in that state, when you're in that state where you're functioning at a higher level, I think physically, I think the reality is that you become more in tune of what your body's capable of doing. Like the reality was I was just underfed and under sleeping the majority of my life.
For me, it was undersalted.
There you go.
So
you know,
simple. Needed more salt, needed more potassium. I was low on potassium. I was getting back spasms.
Yeah.
Gone, disappeared.
Yeah. Really?
Yep.
So just like that. So potassium, you know what I mean?
Little things like that. I remember times where I was lightheaded at the gym, and it wasn't because of my blood sugar. It was when I look back on it, I was like, man, I wish I had known just how low on salt I really was. And I probably could have been able to, I probably would have felt a lot better and maybe not even needed the caffeine to be able to push through the workout. Maybe it really was just a little more electrolytes.
Yeah.
It's crazy how much our system is, how complex it really is.
Yeah.
Like it is nutrition, it is calories, but there's so many other things. We are an electrical
Well, it's
system.
wild because, you know, you look at some of the FDA regulations and or recommendations in and around vitamins and micronutrients and what we're supposed to supposedly take. Our body's needs, minimum requirements, things like that. And like sodium's around like 1,500 milligrams. It's like 1,500 to 2,500 or something, depending on what you're reading.
Low.
Like I personally, I'm at like 5 to 6 grams minimum a day. That's 6,000 milligrams a day. And my performance
that's pretty good.
My performance is night and day with that for sure. I sleep better too. I find my brain functions better. You know, my muscles they're responsible for the way our cells signal. I mean, it's it's pretty obvious, you
but,
know?
Now there's this new product on the market that is this miracle weight loss drug that you guys are probably hearing. It's all over the news. You're probably hearing how it's like you can't even get it. It's like off the shelves. It's on back order because people who really aren't the obese people are flooding into the market to get this product so they can lose that little bit of extra weight.
Yeah.
But the product was really designed for people who were obese.
Yeah.
And you remember that discussion? Like, again, we're not going to get super geeky into it, but basically, and you probably heard the product. Ozempic is an example of one that the name that's out there. But the way that these products work, okay, these miracle fat loss products, you want to know what they actually do? They suppress your appetite.
By tricking your brain. By tricking your brain.
Brain, stomach. Yeah. It's a complex system. But
it's
in a
pretty
nutshell,
wild.
It basically, it makes you, it reduces, but you know what it also does? Makes you nauseous. Like one of the major side effects, complaints by people who are taking this product is how nauseous they are. I'm thinking to myself, who wants to eat when you're nauseous? Isn't that like the worst? Like I can handle a headache. I can handle anything, but nausea, that's the worst. Because now if I'm nauseous, how am I going to have the energy to go work out? So these weren't designed for people who were working out. These were designed for people who were looking to
serious ailments, 300, 400 plus pound individuals who have an obesity issue, who need to lose weight. The unfortunate, one of the unfortunate side effects of this particular drug that Bill Campbell was talking about is the loss of lean mass. 40 plus, plus percent. 40% of your weight loss. They're losing, fat mass, but they're also losing lean muscle mass.
A lot.
Which we know is somewhat fluid. We also know there's some tissue there. I don't know if they're biopsying every person that's taking this, probably not, right? But the reality is, it may serve some if you're at a point of, I guess, no return. You type 1, type 2, type 3 diabetes, depending on what you're doing.
Or you're like severely obese and you're considering something like gastric bypass.
Yeah, but the cause and effect of that, like for people who are just trying to lose a little bit of weight, like. So
somebody like the one study that Dr. Campbell was talking about was this lady she lost 12 pounds. Like that's it. It was just 12 pounds. 40% of it was lean body mass.
I could do that with about 300 to 500 different in calories. I can adjust my calories about 300 to 500, difference.
All it does is suppress your appetite.
And that's I'll probably lose that in maybe a couple of weeks.
And what they're not talking about a little bit is what happens when you go off it. Well, they're kind of breezing over and saying, well, people are showing that they gain weight back. And it's like, well, again, if your issue was inability to consume adequate amount of calories, if you're over consuming calories, if your issue was just suppressing your appetite, okay, so that's going to work. But is that solving the problem? No. You're going to be basically on this drug, which is perfect for the drug companies. They're loving this because now you're locked into the drug for the rest of your life. But is it really helping you? I can understand the person who can't exercise, the person who's bed rest, who's consuming a tremendous amount of calories. And it's a great way to get them in a safe zone to then do what? Work out. Get better nutrition in. Like I can see that, or somebody who is type 2, getting them down into a healthy way. But the mass amount of people that are out there that are running to, like, I believe Dr. Campbell said that he was at a mall recently and there was like a kiosk set up, like a store.
What?
Yeah. There was a store set up and there was like a physician on staff and it was like, trying to sell this product to just like, almost like it's a regular vitamin.
So I think the reality, if I'm to take away, like, what's the biggest takeaway from this particular episode that we're talking about? The reality is that the majority of what it takes to be a bodybuilder or lose weight or be healthy, right, to live a healthier lifestyle is all within. I know it sounds crazily stupid, but how do you sell that? Companies can't tell you to have more willpower. They can't be like, hey, you really just need a good playlist, a little bit of rest and some more food, and you're going to kick ass in the gym. No, they're not going to tell you that because they can't make money on that. Right.
And if you work out, you're going to notice that your appetite is going to increase. So I can understand wanting some ways to, especially if you're trying to be in a caloric deficit while working out. So what are things like, to me, like even like a diet soda? It's not the most nutritious thing in the world, but having a diet soda here or there will cut my appetite. It will curb my appetite and I won't. And
there's a little caffeine in there, right?
And there's a little caffeine.
There's about 25 or 50 milligrams of caffeine. It's measurable, right?
Why would you consume a diet soda that didn't have caffeine in it?
I don't know.
I have no idea.
I don't either.
It's like, what's the point?
Yeah. Yeah, that's.
But anyways, it's just like, I understand wanting to suppress the appetite, but are there other things that you can do? Drink more water. Sometimes your hunger is just because you're dehydrated too.
Or take your time, right? Like you're talking about being depleted and not having enough energy. It's like, okay, so wait a couple of days, have some meals. This is the rest of your life. We talked about this, what it means to have a bodybuilding lifestyle. And for people like us that we know we're going to be training the rest of our lives, it's okay for us to not have to be at 100% every day, 7 days a week. It's like, well, maybe I'm a little depleted because I'm trying to lose some weight. And if I'm trying to lose some weight, calorically, maybe I'm at a deficit. So my energy levels are going to naturally be a little bit lower. So maybe it's not the best idea to go try to do 1,000-pound deadlift. Probably not. Do I want to take drugs to get me all amped up to do that so that I can get through it, just to get through it? Well, what kind of long-term effects can I have on my body when I'm doing that? And then let's say I do that for 6 months or a year or 2 years or 3 years. I mean, what kind of effects are going to happen on my body? I mean, it's just for what? For what?
Well, that and like going back to the weight loss, those miracle weight loss drugs. You guys remember The Biggest Loser? Did you guys ever like look at read the articles long after these people who lost a significant amount of weight on the show, massive amounts of weight, hundreds of pounds? Did you guys ever see the articles about these people after the fact and what happened? They lost so much lean body mass, their metabolic rate tanked.
Because they were not fed.
Right. And they were significant amount. And you can't sustain that level of output. These people were working out all day long and eating so little.
Nothing.
They lost a significant amount of lean body mass, which means their metabolic rate tanked. So now they're like chasing their tail. It really, in a long-term capacity, negatively affected their ability to maintain a healthy lifestyle because now their lean body mass is down. They have to work and they gained the weight back. A lot of them gained a lot of weight back. Yeah. So everything has cause and effect.
Well, what about the psychological detriment that happened from that? I mean, that wasn't easy. These people put their hearts and souls into this transformation. Yeah. They're dealing with the social society, social pressure. And how does that affect them now, 5, 10, 20 years later after being a subject of an experiment publicly?
That's like the athlete who comes into bodybuilding for the first time, gets with a coach that doesn't know what they're doing, who starves them, over cardios them to get them to stage. Psychologically now, that athlete thinks in order for them to look like that, those are the things that they have to do. So it's like that with the Biggest Loser people. Now think you have to do that extreme amount of output in order to look a certain way. And it's just not the case if you give yourself the adequate time and consistency. And nobody wants to hear that. And you've been doing this
20 years. So, I mean, it's taken you 20 years to really build the knowledge base and foundation to have a complete understanding of what your body wants.
Well, I tried it
what
all.
It does,
I understand
how it functions, you're how to push it when you want to or not. I mean, that takes time and that's a lifetime. So why be in a hurry?
Well, that, and I've had situations where I've gone into a show and that there was no excess cardio. There was none of that. It was, I stayed in relatively good shape. So my dial-in for the show was really to get to that extreme lean. It wasn't this swing from out of shape to in shape to stage ready. It was really in shape.
Yeah, bulking. You don't need to bulk 300 pounds. Yeah, mass to move mass. We understand that. It's been pretty studied. It's pretty consistent. The more mass you have, potentially, the more mass you can move. Yeah, but to what detriment? You got to eat 600 or 1,000 grams of carbs a day. I mean, at what point do you become pre-diabetic at that point? I don't care how much you're working. Like, I mean, are you running? Are you on a football field from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. 7 days a week that you're utilizing that kind of energy output? I don't know. There's not a lot of people that I mean, there are some, but probably not the general population, right?
And what I was going to say was that so I've gone from like the protocols where it was a taper in and it was very healthy, very sustainable. Yeah, I mean, getting super lean, you're going to be extremely tired. There is no way around that. You're, on poverty calories at some point, but still, can you push the calories up so it doesn't get as low as somebody who's an extreme low? Have I gone through the periods where I tested out extreme? Yeah, you probably heard an episode I did on the podcast where I had come out of a show and then last minute we decided to do another one, but my body was struggling. I was up about 10 pounds. It was more than that. And I wasn't losing, but I had this show in about 7 weeks. So it was like this torpedo and we tested out a couple of things. And I remember doing a 2-day fast, you guys. When I say fast, I mean nothing.
Oh, what?
Oh, we got balloons.
Hey,
wow.
we're partying.
Did you see that?
What?
That's fun. Did you do that?
I did not.
Oh, okay. Well, I did a 2-day fast, you guys. And you're like, oh, wow, 2-day fast. Yeah, I 2-day fasted with double sessions of cardio and lifts. Yeah. Talk about pain tolerance. Yeah. I remember being in the middle of the night. It was awful. Horrible. I remember being in the middle of the night so hungry I couldn't sleep.
And why? Why were you prescribed to do that?
We were testing something out with the person I was working with. It was, we were testing out to see if I could shake my body to get me into show. Yeah. What do you guys think happened at that show? Do you think I looked good? It was probably one of the worst I ever looked. Yeah. One of the worst. Best I ever looked was the shows where I stayed in good shape. Yeah. Where I stayed in good shape and then like pretty good shape. Like for me, like I still have abs in the off season. That's on me. Yeah. And really use that extended period of time to get really lean, but in a slow, progressive way.
And a few hundred calories, right? A few hundred calories will make a difference. That's what you're basically saying. She's saying, and just like me, 600 grams of carbs or 1,000 grams of carbs.
Did not use cardio.
May not be necessary. You don't have to over cardio. You don't have to over diet. But take your time and go, oh, what if I bump up my calories another 200 or 300, and what does that do for me? And let me stay there for a couple of weeks or a month or 2 or 3 months, For
me, the biggest learning was finding out just how little goes a long way and how little and how consistent you have to be with that little. Yeah. Like you're not going to see a result in a week or two. For me, like if I want to go into a cut right now, I know that for me, this is how my body works. I'm not going to really see any results for about 4 to 6 weeks. I have to just hang in there, be consistent, follow the program, not think about it, not get too crazy over it, and just know that I'm probably not going to start seeing anything happen till about 4 to 6 weeks. That's just how my body works. You're completely different. You can think about weight loss and he lost 5 pounds already. That's just, but his body's mine. So would we have the same prescription?
I hold a little bit more water weight. My muscles are a little bit more dense than yours. I am a male, so my body physiology is slightly different, right? I don't know about all that, but she's still rowing 800 pounds, versus my 150. I mean, it's still.
I'm rowing 800 pounds.
Yeah, bent over rows.
80.
Sorry, I said 800.
I was at 95, but I'm back. Now I'm down to 80 because I got to get back up there.
What I'm saying is that, our strength tolerance is different. Our body requirements are slightly different, which means the way we fluctuate in weight is different.
You can't give us the same prescription. Me, him, you, whatever's going to get you going and get you into the gym and feel good. And what is that going to take? Test out the little things like salt. Test that out. Test out, the little things like even just a little caffeine, like a little coffee. If you need that little bit of beta alanine and you want to feel that tingle, I don't like that feeling. You do. I hate it.
I like it on days I'm not working out, actually.
I know. You like everything, but you're extra. I call him extra anyways.
Not my thing, I'd much rather just, smoke a joint or something and go work out than anything else.
I don't know how you do that.
It's effective. I can find that it puts me in the zone a little bit here and there. I think it could be very effective, but full time, it's not something that I use. So.
I don't even know how you do that. I don't know how you're not melting into the machine.
That's a whole nother conversation. Anybody who does smoke a joint from time to time and do some workouts,
we're so opposite. Give me caffeine. Yeah. And you're like, give me a joint. I'm like, no.
It puts you in a different state. It puts you in a different zone. It allows the mind to focus a little differently. It's not something that I would want to do full time every time. I don't think that would be sustainable. But, I've talked to guys that roll that, do jujitsu and things like that. And there's a different alternative, the way that our brain thinks in and around that functionality, because our body's processes are different within that. The way that we're feeling things, the way that we're touching things and talking and hearing, right? So that indirectly starts to affect the results of how you're thinking and what you're doing. So, but it's an unsustainable long-term thing, right? You're not doing that every time you go to the gym, working out, all this. No, it's a little bit of an enhancement.
Well, I mean, to each their own, whatever's going to get you going. To me, that would be the worst thing, the last thing I would ever do. I don't even like it at all, but that's just me. Yeah. Give me a little coffee or give me a little, like a good coffee or even like an e-shot with their little, just green tea and some adaptogenic herbs. That combination, I don't know, but it's just a great little supplement. Yeah. Stuff like that. But again, it's green tea and herbs. Like I'm not even talking about anything crazy, just like you. It's a plant.
It's a plant.
But it's not my jam. So whatever's going to get you up and going, I think a lot of it is psychological,
100%.
but everything does have cause and effect.
I think all of it is psychological.
Yeah.
Once you've learned and nailed your foundation, you got good nutrition, you got good recovery, you know what you're doing, how your body functions fundamentally at the gym, like how to lift, how to bring yourself to 2 reps in reserve, or, how to hit PRs, how to have progressive overload, how to do those things effectively and understand your effort and energy requirements. Once you've kind of established that baseline, then at that point, you can start to toy with, well, what happens if I add 50 more carbs, 50 grams of carbs, or 20 grams of carbs?
A gram of salt.
A gram of salt, or 2 grams of salt, or
5 grams of creatine.
Maybe I want to sit in a sauna an hour before I go to bed 3 days a week. Does that help my recovery? Do I feel better at the gym? What do I look like? What's my weight like? What am I eating like now? How do I feel? Am I more hungry? Am I bloated? Am I not? Like, there's a lot of these little things that if you start stacking all this junk, in my opinion, the majority of the stuff is junk.
We're looking for a quick fix. I think at the end of the day, please do share with your family and friends, the loved ones, about the products out there, these miracle weight loss. I think the biggest takeaway and the real eye-opener for me and Vassilios was the 40% reduction in lean mass, how unsustainable that is, and how it's really, we understand the obesity
fat burners
and people like that.
Just be frank, but you don't need them. You don't need them unless you have an ailment,
medical condition,
a medical ailment that's, hurting you and causing you to be in a position where your health is at risk of living. Well, I mean, we're not trying to hurt people. We're trying to help them.
So you guys are on the right path. You're here, right? You're obviously into fitness, into nutrition. You're here. We're really happy that you're here. Thank you for joining us once again on another episode of our weekly Everything Else in Bodybuilding podcast, the live edition.
The live edition.
Yeah, the live edition. Woo! Thank you guys for joining us.
We party here.
It's nice to see you, Mel.
We're partying. What are you doing? You didn't even. She missed the party.
I did. I missed the party.
She missed the party. See, it happens.
What's your party?
Well, it's over now.
Well, hold on. I missed it.
Too
I was
late.
looking at our we had some people here: Jennifer, Mel Ford, Erica. Thank you guys for joining us live. It was great to have you on.
Absolutely.
So I guess we'll be back next week.
So
in the meantime, we do have a couple of virtual clinics coming up.
Go ahead.
October 28th, any of you that are getting ready for NPC, if you're an NPC competitor, all the men and women divisions, October 28th, go to learntopose.com.
Yes.
Scroll down to that clinic's information, register, share it with your friends. Please do share this information. And then November 4th, we got an official one for the OCB Federation for those of you who are competing there. Again, all the divisions. So definitely check it out. Go to learntopose.com. Scroll down to the section on services, and you'll find the information on how to register for both of them. Okay.
Unbelievable what we have. It's technology nowadays. Yes.
All right.
That's
Anything
it.
else you want to add?
No.
Okay.
You guys have the will within you. Find it, dig deep, get in there, and you don't need any of that junk. Forget about that. It's killing people. It ain't good. It's horrible.
All right. Signing off. We'll see you next week.
See you guys.
Ever wonder if you are posing correctly for your division? Learn to Pose is dedicated to taking out the guesswork on how to pose for all categories in bodybuilding. Learn 5 ways you can improve your posing skills in 5 minutes guaranteed at www.learntopose.com. There are free posing tutorials available for the bikini, figure, and men's physique categories, and more on the way for other divisions in bodybuilding. It's free, so go access your free posing tutorial for bikini, figure, or men's physique at learntopose.com.